Hey guys, myself Mahesh Bikut, and today we are going to discuss the sixth part of biomolecules. So these are the contents. So we are going to discuss in the today's class: protein definition, classification of proteins, so fibrous and globular proteins, enzyme, hormone, transport agents, and also structure of the protein, primary structure, secondary structure, and tertiary structure, and last one, denaturation of protein. The protein, you know already what are the proteins. Proteins are the organic molecule containing nitrogen and formed by polymerization of alpha amino acids, right? So I have already discussed it in the previous class. So the proteins classification, so protein can be classified based on the three different categories. First is based on shape and structure, second one is based on composition, third one is based on function. Okay, now we will study each one by one. So based on shape, proteins can be classified into two ways. First one is fibrous protein and next one is globular proteins. So based on the composition, proteins can be classified into three ways. First one is simple protein, second one conjugated, third one derived proteins. And based on function, the protein can be classified into again four categories. First one enzymes, based on the function what they are doing in our body. So based on that, the proteins can be classified into four categories. First one is enzyme, second one is hormones, third one is transport agent, and fourth one is we are having some structural materials. Okay, so now we will study each one by one. First we will start with the base. Okay, so based on the shape, proteins are classified into two ways, you know already: fibrous proteins and globular proteins. So we will study the difference between these two so that we can understand the definition also, what are the solubility and what are the chain present in that and where they are exactly located. So fibrous protein and globular proteins, so molecules. So in fibrous proteins, they have a fiber, that means thread like structure. In fibrous proteins, they are the thread like structures, but in globular proteins they fold into spherical 3D shape, so they are just folded. Okay, and solubility, if we discuss regarding the solubility, so fibrous proteins are insoluble in water, but globular proteins are soluble in water. That means fibrous are insoluble in water and globular are soluble in water. Next, if we discuss regarding the polypeptide chain, so in fibrous proteins they are parallel to each other. They are parallel to each other. In globular proteins, they are chains are arranged as a coils, you know already, coil structure. So here in fibrous proteins, polypeptide chain is parallel, but in globular protein the polypeptide chain is looks like a coils. I hope you understood. Next one, what is the role of this fibrous protein? Usually fibrous protein helps to structural determination. Look at, for example, in collagens in a bone and cartilage. So there in bone, collagen is a fibrous protein present, helps to increase the calcium content of the bone. And in hair we have a keratin fibrous protein. Keratin is also an example for fibrous protein. Yeah, it is present in hair. Next, in globular proteins, it is used to metabolic activity. It is used for the metabolic activity, to maintain the metabolic activity. For example, enzymes in all organisms, you know already, in all organisms enzymes are present. So those enzymes are nothing but the examples for globular proteins. And also in plasma proteins, antibodies in mammals, these all are the used to maintain the metabolic activity of our body. I hope you understood. Next example you found, in hair we are having keratin protein, so that is an example for fibrous. And in skin and bone we are having collagen protein, that is also example for fibrous. And for if you come across the globular proteins, hemoglobin, you know already, it is found in blood, hemoglobin, insulin, and enzymes in all organisms. So these all are the examples for globular proteins. I hope you understood. So this one is difference between fibrous and globular. Fibrous, they have a thread like structure. Globular, they have a 3D shape. Fibrous proteins, they are insoluble. but globular proteins are soluble in water and they are parallel. Polypeptide chain is parallel in case of fibrous, but here in coils in case of globular. So structural determination, they are helpful for the structural determination and structure. So here these are globular proteins are helpful for metabolic activity, to maintain the metabolic activity. So these are the examples. Next classification is based on the composition. So based on the composition, the proteins can be classified into, already, simple protein. Simple proteins are nothing but these are the proteins which on hydrolysis. So which on hydrolysis gives only alpha amino acids. So they were only giving alpha amino acids. So those are called simple proteins. So if you if you know, albumins, serum, globulin and keratin. Keratin in hair, you know already. So these are the examples for simple proteins. So what are simple proteins? These are the proteins which on hydrolysis gives only alpha amino acids. I hope you understood. So next one, conjugated. Look at the name itself indicating conjugated. That means these are the proteins which on hydrolysis, look at here. So simple protein on hydrolysis only alpha amino acids. But here, which on hydrolysis, we are getting alpha amino acid as well as non-protein material. Which on hydrolysis we are getting alpha amino acid as well as non-protein materials. So non-protein material is called prosthetic group in this case, or also called cofactor. I hope you understood. Simple proteins are the proteins which on hydrolysis gives only alpha amino acids. But conjugated proteins are the proteins which on hydrolysis gives alpha amino acid as well as protein non-protein material, that is called a prosthetic group. What we can call that as a prosthetic group or cofactor. So example, hemoglobin is a better example for conjugated proteins. Last one, derived proteins. So in derived proteins are nothing but the protein derived by, so look at it, name itself indicating derived. So they are obtained from different proteins. Look at here, derived by the partial hydrolysis of simple and conjugated. That means simple proteins on hydrolysis yield alpha amino acid. Conjugated proteins on hydrolysis yield alpha amino acid as well as non-protein material. Derived proteins are obtained from these two. What we can call the derived proteins are the proteins which are obtained from the simple protein and conjugated proteins, right? By the action of acid, alkali or enzyme. When we treating the simple protein and conjugated protein with acid, alkalis and enzyme, we are getting derived proteins. So I hope you understood. So example for derived protein is proteoses, peptones and polypeptides. So this is classification of protein based on composition. First one, classification of proteins based on fibrous and globular proteins we are having there. So here based on composition we are having simple protein, conjugated protein and protein. So next we will study the third classification category based on the function, what they are doing. So based on that we have already studied four classifications are there for you. First one is enzyme. So enzyme, those are the biochemical catalyst. So example for enzymes are maltase, lipase, pepsin. These all are the some other examples also there. So those are examples for enzyme. So this classification of the protein based on the function, what they are doing in our body. So enzymes are the biochemical catalyst So example for that maltase, lipase, etc. Hormones, these are secreted by our endocrine glands. So they are biochemical messengers. They regulate growth and reproduction. So for a growth and a reproduction, the helpful enzymes are nothing but the helpful materials are called hormones. I hope you understood. Hormones are the secreted by endocrine glands. So they are biochemical messengers and they regulate growth and reproduction. So example for hormones are insulin and oxytocin. So these are the example for hormones. So next one, transport agents. So they act as a carrier protein. So they will carry the protein. So example here is hemoglobin and myoglobin. These both are present in our blood. So next one, antibodies. So name itself indicating they will fight against pathogens. Look at here. So they protect the body by counteracting the effect of toxins produced by pathogenic organisms. So antibodies are nothing but they are the counteracting effect of toxin produced by pathogens. That means antibodies are one which will help to protect our body from the pathogens. Pathogens means virus, bacteria and all. Okay, so example for antibodies are immunoglobulin and gamma globin. These are the example for antibodies. I hope you understood. So next one, fifth one is structural material. They act as a structural material of the body. Example, keratin in hairs and collagen in skin and bones. I hope you understood. So this is a third classification based on the function. Here again 5 categories are there: enzyme, hormone, transport agent, antibodies and structural materials. So enzymes are nothing but biochemical catalyst. Example, maltase and lipase. Hormones are nothing but they regulate what they will do, they regulate growth and reproduction. Example, insulin, oxytocin. Transport agent, they act as a carrier of the protein. They act as a carrier of the protein. Example, hemoglobin and myoglobin found in blood. Next one, antibodies. So name itself indicating here, antibodies are nothing but they are one which will protect our body from the pathogens. So example, immunoglobulin and gamma globin. Last one, structural materials. They act as a structural material of the body. So example, keratin in hair and collagen in skin and bone. So this is regarding the, I hope you understood. Now we will discuss the structure of the protein. So the complete structure of the protein can be classified into 3 categories. First one, primary, secondary and tertiary and quaternary. 4 categories, sorry. So first we will discuss regarding the primary. Primary structure only give the number and sequence of alpha amino acid. So primary structure only tells about how many numbers are there and what is the sequence of alpha amino acid. That's it. So in polypeptide chain, that is what primary structure. So look at here. So these are the alpha amino acid. You know already we studied. So classification of alpha amino acids. So glycine, valine, alanine. So those are all called alpha amino acids. So here nitrogen and carbonyl group. This is called carbonyl group. So carefully see here. This is your carbonyl group. So this carbonyl group and nitrogen, we are having the bond. That bond is called peptide bond. Which bond? Peptide bond. So this primary structure only tells about number, how many number of alpha amino acids are joined and what is the sequence. Either valine, after that alanine is there, or what is the sequence between that. We will discuss in later in detail regarding the primary structure. So only remember the primary structure only tells about number and sequence of alpha amino acids. Okay. Discuss the secondary structure. So primary structure only number and sequence of alpha amino acid. Secondary structure will give the arrangement of polypeptide chain. What they will give? Arrangement of polypeptide chain as a result of hydrogen bonding. So primary structure gives only number and sequence of alpha amino acid, but secondary structure will give arrangement of polypeptide chain as a result of hydrogen bonding. So there are 2 types again. So one is alpha helical structure. Second one is beta plated structure. So name itself indicating alpha helical. So what is the name? Alpha helix. So we'll study one by one. And these are the structures arises due to regular folding of backbone of polypeptide chain. So these are arising due to regular folding of backbone of polypeptide chain. So alpha structure looks like this. Look at here. Secondary structure gives only polypeptide chain arrangement as a result of hydrogen bonding. Look at here. Just to see here, this looks like alpha, right? Carefully see here. This is an alpha. You know already this is an alpha, right? So this looks like alpha, right? Therefore, the secondary structure of the protein can be studied in 2 ways. One is alpha helical structure, another one is beta plated. This is what? Beta plated structure. Look at carefully here. This is looks like a beta, right? So beta plated structure. Only this much is there. Tertiary structure we will study. So primary structure gives only number and sequence. Tertiary structure gives regular arrangement of the polypeptide chain. Now tertiary will give overall folding. What exactly polypeptide chain locates? Overall folding of the polypeptide chain. Okay, there are two important tertiary structures are there. So one is fibrous and another one is globular. We have discussed already what are the fibrous and globular. So in first slide only, yes. So this is tertiary structure. Now quaternary structure, whatever the tertiary structure is there, no. So four tertiary structures combined or coiled or condensed to form quaternary structure. Look at here. Some of the protein contain two or more polypeptide chains are called tertiary quaternary structures. So the spatial arrangement of these polypeptide chains with respect to each other is called quaternary. That means whatever the tertiary structure is there, no, that combining two or more tertiary structure, we will get quaternary structures. So that is what quaternary structure. So this is what, look at here. This is secondary structure. So these whatever you are observing, no, these dots, these are called alpha amino sequence. So jointing this alpha amino sequence, we are getting secondary structure. So when we secondary structure is folded, we are getting tertiary structure. Tertiary structure is folded, then that is called quaternary. This is secondary, folding secondary, we are getting tertiary, folding tertiary, we are getting quaternary. I hope you understood. So this is what exactly locates. So this is alpha amino chain. So this is, you know, already we have studied in classification of alpha amino acid: histidine, alanine, valine, leucine, glycine, lysine and lysine. These are our alpha amino acid. This is what sequence of alpha amino acid. So sequence of the alpha amino acid and number, how many numbers? Look at here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 amino acids are there. So number of amino acid and sequence of the amino acid is given by what? Primary structure, right? Given by primary structure. And if you combine these primary structure, we will get a helical structure, that is nothing but secondary structure. It will give arrangement of polypeptide chain, that's it. And combining these secondary structure, we will get tertiary structure. Look at here, coil like structure, right? Combining two or three or four molecules of tertiary structure, we will get quaternary structure. So this is what entire structure regarding the protein. Primary structure gives number of amino acids and sequence, how they are arranged. Secondary structure gives these primary structure coiling to form a polypeptide chain. So regarding the polypeptide chain. Tertiary structure gives how polypeptide chains are arranged. That means in a molecule how polypeptide chains are coiled. That one is regarding tertiary. Then combining this tertiary, so coiling this tertiary structure, four molecules, that is called quaternary structure. I hope you understood regarding the structure of protein. Now we will discuss of this session, that is nothing but denaturation of protein. Look at the name, denaturation. So it indicates that there is a what? Change in the structure of the protein, right? Look at here. Denaturation of protein is a process in which protein lose their tertiary structure. Protein lost their tertiary structure and secondary structure by application of some external stress like heat, ionic strength, temperature, pH, like that. I hope you understood. Denaturation of protein is a process in which protein lost their tertiary structure and secondary structure due to an external apply of temperature, ionic strength and pH. So due to this one, protein will lose its originality, that means its function, right? So if the reverse of the denaturation is called renaturation, reverse of denaturation is called renaturation. We will explain this denaturation by taking a picture. Look at here. This is normal protein, how protein is looks like, that is primary structure of the protein I have taken. So when we denaturate that one, denaturate means apply some temperature or some anything, ionic strength, pH. So if you change that one, this normal structure of the protein is there, no, that will changes its structure. Look at here. Here it is coiled, but here it is changed its structure. So due to this is the original structure, this is after denaturation. Due to the change in the structure, protein will lose its functioning. Whatever it is work is there, no, that work is not done by this denatured protein now. I hope you understood. This is what denaturation. And if denaturated protein again resemble, that means again combined to form a normal protein, then that is called renaturation of the protein. I hope you understood, guys. This is regarding denaturation of the protein and renaturation of the